Our guest today is going to be talking to us about his transition from pro basketball to real estate
I
investing.
thought it would be like a LeBron James type of superhuman, but it was a different sort of superhuman that was unlocked.
But our guest today is going to be talking to us about his transition from pro basketball to real estate investing and the life journey that we're all on, and realizing the superpower inside of all of us, and talking about who we are becoming as humans as we grow into better people. This is someone who's been through a lot of turmoil, but is able to break through all of that to become the best version of himself. We're going to be bringing in somebody who's really been able to succeed and excel in different areas of life. And how great is that to learn success here, and then to take what we've learned from this and apply it to other places. My guest today is a former pro basketball player and also a very successful real estate investor. He's done a lot of great things. And I also want you guys to go and check out the book, Overcome, the Key to Unlocking Your Superhuman, because we all have a superhuman inside us. Art Morrison, who's going to be joining us today. Art, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
What's up, everybody? What's up, Matt? I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So tell us a bit about those that don't know already, that don't follow you on social. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your backstory so we can hop in.
Yep, Art Morrison III. I run a company called United Home Relief. That is my real estate company. It's my second business that I've ran for more than a month, right? Before that, I was in youth basketball training. I had a youth basketball organization. That was my first baby, my first try at entrepreneurship. And then before that, I played professional basketball overseas in Portugal. And then the book that Matt was referencing, Overcome, the Key to Unlocking Your Superhuman, is basically a book about my life up until the point that I signed my contract to play overseas. Growing up, essentially my whole identity was surrounded around basketball and trying to make it in basketball, as many people dream of doing from where I'm from. And throughout that journey, a lot of failures and just obstacles you have to overcome end up shaping me to be a superhuman in a different way than I thought I would, right? I thought it would be like a LeBron James type of superhuman, but it was a different sort of superhuman that was unlocked. And what I learned throughout that story and journey is that everyone is essentially going through the same thing as we speak. So the book just teaches people how to identify those things, those moments, and then ultimately capitalize on them to build the character, build the superhuman that you're going to be the rest of your life. So yeah, go check out the book. It's really cool. One of my favorite things I've ever done.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So I believe that too. And now you say I got Captain America here, and the reason why it's really in line with what you just said, because I believe that all people have inner strength, and that you either in your life bring out your God-given talents, or you don't. Right? It's up to you. It's your choice on whether or not you bring about what's inside you. And in the not to dork out about Marvel for a second here, but Steve Rogers was strong inside. He was a strong human before science and technology made him a superhuman, right? But so I think that it's an emblem for a lot of us that he believed in himself. He was emotionally strong. He was mentally sound. He wanted to do great things in the world, regardless of his physical, what his body could do. His brain wanted to do great things. Kept trying to sneak into the army, to enlist in the army and do good things by his country and all that. And then science matched his body with what was already going on in his spirit, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I absolutely love Captain America. You see, I got his shield back there and all other kind of stuff, right? So, so what was a bit about your backstory, and in your book they'll get to read a little bit more of that, right? But what were the seeds that got planted in you that you got to bring about in through basketball, and that? Give us a little bit of that story on a personal level.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me was I wasn't that good at first, right? So I just wasn't talented. And later on, I started identifying why that was. I go into in the book, but essentially there was a moment in my life where my older brother, my dad, most of the men in my life were incarcerated, in prison, right? So I didn't have a male presence. That was one thing I kind of touched on, or even just guidance, mentorship at the time when I needed it in the sport and out of the sport, which was a setback at the time, but then it ultimately ended up, making me stronger and building character. Those kinds of things. I mean, all the way up to high school, mom and dad were getting divorced, went to 5 high schools. So obviously you can imagine getting ready to go to college is difficult when you're sort of bouncing around schools. It's hard to get noticed and found. Ended up going to college, and because of the bouncing around and the plethora of schools I went to, I actually missed out my entire freshman year. They took a year of eligibility from me. So I couldn't play at all. So I only had 3 years of eligibility. Then fast forward my senior year, I tore my ACL, MCL, and meniscus, basically blew out my knee. I think it might have been 8 games into the season or 7, something like that. But long story short is I lost an entire senior year. So if you look at all those things, you're like, all right, playing professional basketball is absolutely not an option for this person. And I ended up posing as my own agent, reaching out to basically every team in the world, in Europe that I thought matched my level for an opportunity to play or try out or something, whatever they would offer. And out of all that, I ended up getting 2 contract offers, one that I found was acceptable, and actually playing overseas. So, there's a lot of superpowers that were developed in just all of that, coming back from a knee injury, overcoming uncontrollables, like not being able to play your freshman year of college. And I actually would have had the opportunity to be one of the best players as a freshman, because I think I was overqualified for that school because of the recruiting issues in high school, right? So then overcoming that whole mind game that the universe was playing on me, but it was all to sort of better shape me into who I am today. And then, that translated so well in entrepreneurship. I mean, sports in general translates really well into entrepreneurship, right? And just business in general. But when you're overcoming things like that, I mean, even me reaching out to like 3,000, different people, sending out, and I'm talking about not an email blast, I'm talking about copy and paste. Like this was in 2013. So it was like, everyone didn't have so much access to technology.
You were going to the social feeds, right? Yeah.
Nah, I was like copying and pasting and finding the emails on Google and Facebook and finding GMs of team and basically emailing my profile out. So like, yo, what career, let alone real estate, which we'll get into in a little bit, but what career are you not going to be successful if you're willing to sit in a bed with a bum knee for a week straight and copy and paste thousands of emails to people, prospect? I mean, there's not many. You can call that sales, you can call it marketing, you can call it perseverance. I don't know what you would call it, but there's not many industries you're not going to be successful if you're even willing to do something like that. Would I have been willing to do something like that if I had silver spoon in my elbow?
So I got to tell you, man, like there's so many times that you probably could have folded up, but for some reason you kept saying no to that little voice, which I know it's there for all of us, right? It's not like your secret is you just don't have that little voice that's telling you to just quit, right? It's telling you that you've sent all these letters, this isn't going to work. It's probably telling you to stop every time you hit go, right? But there's something in you that we all need to remind ourselves that part of it, that telling no to that little voice on your shoulder, right? Where does that come from? Where's that fire to keep pushing that send button again? And you're absolutely right. It transitions into business. So let's go there, right? Where does that fire for you? And I'm sure a lot of more of this is in the book, to tell that little voice no every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's two things. Number one is or two answers rather. My first answer is I don't know, and I don't even want to pretend to know. You know what I mean? Because it comes from a different place for everyone. Yeah. But for me, what I can say came from was just awareness. What the book helps people do is have that awareness. It's like a guide. Like, hey, listen, these things happen to everyone, right? First of all, like whether there's no measuring stick for like how heavy turmoil is or how amazing success is. Like, bro, I'm a okay real estate investor, and I was a even less than okay professional basketball player if you're comparing me to LeBron James or Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? So you can always compare and all that. But ultimately, if you really lock in on your journey and are just aware of what's actually happening to you and are able to step out of your body for a second, and in the book, every chapter has a lesson and then a section for you to actually write your own story. So that's like the hack. And I didn't keep a diary or nothing growing up. So it's easy for me to say when I wrote it, I was 28. So it's easy for me to say at 28, this is what you should do. But it is me thinking back and saying, wow, I wish I would have done this. I would have maybe even had success faster if I realized what was happening to me and how I can find a silver lining or, turn a negative into a positive with just this thought process of identifying what is positive, what is negative, how does this affect me, how do I capitalize on this awareness.
That's brilliant, man. I mean, like, and I in my life to speak, and I can tell you've realized this now, and maybe realize this in youth as well, that if all I do is just not quit and keep trying a thing, I will eventually figure it out. And that's proven itself to me over and over and over and over in life. And like they say, like if you're going through hell, keep going kind of thing, right? Yeah. That things always turn around if you give them time to do so. Things always work out if you give them time to do so. The worst thing I can do is quit when things get tough, because that's what failure is failure is really just not trying again, not sending out that next letter, not getting back in the ring when you get knocked down on the mat with an uppercut, in that. So let's transition. So then successful basketball career, right? You played in Portugal, right? What was that like, by the way? An American, playing overseas, right? Give us briefly how that felt and how you manifested success from that too.
It was amazing. It was a dream come true. I had a super short career. I'm not gonna sit here like I played 10 years and dominated. I did lead the league in scoring that 1 year, but in that off season and even during the season, it was like, okay, I achieved this goal, and I won't say it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, but it's playing a professional sport is a job. It's either a high paying job or a low paying job, depending on what level you're at. And it takes a lot on your body. It takes a lot on your mental as well, because you're not really in control of anything off the court, right? You got agents, teams, team budgets, a lot of things. So once I experienced that my first year, I immediately transitioned into entrepreneurship. Like I saw the writing on the wall quickly. So playing overseas was amazing, but that's really what pushed me hard into entrepreneurship, because I said, well, like in that off season, I tweaked my knee, like in the summer. It wasn't anything bad. It just was like, man, now I can't train. And if word gets out, I tweak my knee. What's the team going to say? There was a lot of anxiety that came with that. My previous team had lost a sponsor. They couldn't afford to pay me. They sent me home. Just things like that, what was happening. And I'm like, I'm really not in control at all. So I just spent my whole life trying to do something that I'm still not in control of. And that was enough for me to just like literally drop kick me in the back into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, right. So here we are, right? And basketball is great. You achieve that goal. You climb that mountain. It of course gets hard. So you probably got the little voice on your shoulder yet again speaking up, saying, "Hey man, you quit. You should just fold up, go back home, whatever it is." But you did not do that. You kept going. Like, all right, I'm I've climbed this mountain now. Now I'm going to go get into a whole nother thing, which is yet another mountain, very similar to getting really great at a sport, which is entrepreneurship. It's just kind
The
of
plan was always go play professional basketball, make a ton of money, invested in real estate in America, and when you come home, do like basketball camps and start a youth basketball organization. That was always the plan.
Okay.
And I realized, being realistic with myself, two of those things didn't have a ceiling. One of them did, and the one that did was playing. Right?
Yeah.
Real estate and running my own youth basketball organization didn't. So I just stopped playing and went hard on my youth basketball organization because that's what came the most natural. And as I started growing that, then I realized that had I won't say a ceiling, but it was much more difficult to scale with the same skill sets, the same marketing and social media and coaching and all of that I was putting into basketball. If and when eventually I did put that into real estate, I was going to crush it. And fast forward, the pandemic came in 2020. I couldn't do basketball training, and in that year, we did 5 flips and made 300 something thousand. It was the most money I ever made. And that was over from there.
I put my during the pandemic, I had my he's 9 now. I guess he would have been like 6 or 7 at the time. I had a buddy doing Zoom basketball clinics.
That was me.
That
was
you
me.
Doing that too? Yeah,
$20, bro. And I was like, what am I doing here? I have a flip over here that's going to make me $120,000. I have to stop what I'm doing to train some kids and do. And I loved what I was doing. Don't get me wrong, but obviously, as a basketball pro player and a trainer, you didn't imagine yourself on Zoom dribbling and trying to do drills with a kid who's in his living room. Is like, nah, let's go all in on what works. Like, let's identify what the best use of my time is. Go from there.
Yeah, unless you want to become like a YouTube star and have a couple million followers or whatever, then the big bucks come in. But until you hit that, and until you hit that level of stardom with it, like you said, you're getting $20 for teaching somebody's kid to play basketball in their living room.
I don't have kids, so I can still do that. I still have YouTube opportunity and all that. But I bid for that real estate money, which I'm sure we'll get into. That's when I was like, oh, nah, enough is enough.
No. And let's just one thing that people need to hear yet again is perseverance, right? Because you can't expect real estate to teach you perseverance. If you bring perseverance to real estate, that you're going to be very successful, because like the first person that you cold called trying to wholesale their house, or trying to buy their house for a fix and flip, or trying to get to buy your fix and flip for that matter, or whatever it is, for me, trying to attribute equity to your business, they're likely going to tell you no. And if the first person tells you yes, great, the third person is probably going to tell you no. So you got to have the perseverance, being willing to get told no a lot. And that's a muscle that not everybody has, but it's the faster you can strengthen that, whether that's trying to get a league to take you seriously and bring you onto their basketball team, whether that's whatever it is. I mean, if it's, selling vacuum cleaners door to door, whatever it is, perseverance is a great skill to bring to entrepreneurship, period. You need it. And if you bring it to real estate first, you're going to be successful that much faster. So now you're in real estate. Give us a bit of your journey here. What are you bringing from all those backstories that you've done?
Yeah. So 2019, I did my first wholesale transaction. I was living in my best friend's basement, and a neighbor was selling the house. I saw them cleaning it out. I saw them put a sell by owner sign in the window. The first sell by owner sign was like a 13-inch sign. I could tell they just were one of those sellers who knew they wanted to sell and didn't know how. So I had already done some studies on wholesaling. I just went up to him and said, hey, I'll buy your house. And ended up getting under contract, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I went to everyone I knew in real estate, told them, hey, I have this house under contract, but now I got an offer for someone else to buy it. Or I think I was charging like 20 grand or so wholesale fee. We came up with an agreement where I would shadow them on, how to flip it and learn and basically get mentorship for a lesser wholesale fee, and they paid me in increments throughout the deal. Like I think I charged 15 grand and they paid me like 5 grand every 2 months or something like that. And that just allowed them to stretch their money and get property cheaper and get better lending, whatever. So that was deal number one. It was a little goofy, but it showed me how easy it was to make money in real estate. I'm big on social media, so I was posting about that deal on Instagram, and I got another deal that maybe another 15 grand in wholesaling. That was in 2019. So I took those 2 transactions. I bought 2 multifamilies, a 2-unit and a 3-unit. So I was in real estate a little bit, but that money, 15 grand twice a year, that's 30,000. That ain't nothing. Like I said, I was living in my best friend's basement, and then I got my 2 multifamilies, so I was able to invest that money. But even that was making me like $1,000 a month total between the 2 multifamily cash flow after paying the mortgage. So it was cool. It just wasn't life changing. But that whole time, I'm putting offers in to find flips. The only strategy I had was on market. So I had my significant other at the time get a real estate license, and we were putting offers in all of 2019 and just losing. You know what I mean? Just losing. We didn't know how to properly make off. We're just losing all year. January 2020, we finally win one. No. I'm sorry. We lost. We lost that one too. But the buyer backed out, and they came back to us and said, do you want it? And I said, holy crap, it's game time. But it was a weird house. It was owned by the Association of Retarded Citizens, which I know isn't like politically correct, but that's the name of it. It's called the ARC.
Yeah. If that's the name, you're allowed to say it.
Right. So it was a house. It was like assisted living.
Right.
So like it had no basement, but then like it wasn't. The basement was like there was an issue in the inspection that came up. It was a small issue, probably $10,000. I used that issue to back out because I was so scared. I'm like, holy crap, we really got one. Now we have to actually flip it. So I'm like, I think we're gonna pass. And the realtor said, listen, this is a nonprofit. It hasn't paid no tax. They just want to sell it. What number do you need to get it for you to buy.
Oh, here we go.
I said, man, 100,000. I did not want it. So they wanted 170. I said 100. She said,
because you knew they wouldn't take it, right? Like you knew they would hang up on you, right? Right,
That's
right.
what I'm saying. I don't even want to say like I'm a sharp negotiator. No. I was being a wuss and tried to back out. And she said, let me talk to him and hit you back. She hits me back.
Here we go.
40 seconds, like they accept. And I'm like, oh my God, 100 grand. So as you can imagine, we
You're like, did I say 100?
So we flipped that house for 350. I ended up profiting like $120,000, and I didn't have any money to flip it. So that's when I figured out how to like syndicate it. Will I got the money
turn
from
it into
someone
though?
else.
Like, give me the business plan on you got this group home. Let's you know call it that, right?
We just made it sexy, man. We just made it sexy. It was very spacious, very big, had these high cathedral ceilings. It almost looked like a church. So we said, yo, let's just take advantage of it. Bust those ceilings out, show like how high the ceiling really is. They already had bedrooms, but they were like hospital bedrooms with like a hospital divider. So all we had to do was sheetrock. We added a bathroom because we added a bathroom everywhere. Every property that we bought, it increased the value, and it ended up being a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, amazing,
with cool
massive
ceilings
bedroom.
and lots of square footage.
Concept, sitting on an acre in New Jersey. If anybody's from New Jersey, like you're not finding properties that are on an acre. You know what I mean? So we were able to take that $100,000 property, put 110 into it, and sell it 300, and I think we sold it for 340 to be exact.
Great. That's great. Yeah.
After that, as you can imagine, it was. I mean, I took that money. I bought 1, 2, 3, 4 more houses that year. Yeah.
There's a buyer for everything, right?
Everything.
Good stuff. Are you in New Jersey? What part of New Jersey?
I'm currently right now sitting in Tampa, Florida. Last year, I moved down here. My business is still in New Jersey, but now we flip houses and buy rental in Jersey, here in Tampa Bay area, North Carolina, and Georgia. So we've scaled a little bit since.
Okay. I got started in New Jersey myself. We had 115 units in Trenton at one point.
Wow.
So you did those flips. Let's talk about like then expansion happens, right? You start taking on new states, new markets. Talk us through how all that unfolded for you.
Yeah. So the first step was acquisition. So anybody who's listening, like you got to get good at finding deals.
Yes.
Taking a whole year to find a deal on market wasn't the answer. So I invested in a little bit of coaching and really just some systems in how to find basically direct to seller relationships. So that first wholesale deal I had, well, it was a neighbor. How do we replicate that but at scale? So we ended up implementing some leveraging softwares like PropStream and stuff like that. We use text message marketing, postcards, a bunch of different forms of marketing. We probably invest like $1,000 to $2,000 a month in marketing at first, and just like that, I mean, we got those 4 properties in a half a year, right? So we had
so much tech to help. I remember wholesalers back in the day, man. I mean, they were just like shooting fish.
Newspaper articles, door knocking, putting signs up. I mean,
I remember bandit signs used to be everywhere, man, but you don't really see those anymore because you don't need them, right?
Yeah, and towns don't allow them because it makes it ugly. So like now they have like a war on bandit signs. I've actually gotten tickets in my career because I didn't know any other way of marketing. But once you think
there's a lead calling you and it said like this is Inspector so and so from this town.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, you think it's a lead, you answer all happy, and they're like, yeah.
I got a $250 ticket. Where do I mail this ticket to?
Right. But yeah, so we did that in New Jersey, and we did the 5 properties that year. We did 5 the following year, which was 2021. And that's when I said, if we can do this here, and listen, if you live in the Midwest, if you live in even the Southeast, I'll say, I can promise you it's easier than New Jersey and New York and the tri-state. So that was, as I started doing research and learning real estate nationwide, I realized, okay, Jersey, New York, Cali, these are always listed as the worst places, and we've had success here.
So what's next for Art Morrison III, right? Like what mountain are you climbing now that you're going to be standing on top of 3 to 5 years from now?
Love this question. So essentially, we started off like wholesaling for a short period of time, then flipping. Flipping's been our biggest, the core of our business. We've recently transitioned last year and this year into holding on to these single family rentals. But obviously, you need to have a pretty large portfolio of single families to really, really cash flow, because single families don't cash flow as much. I think the national average is like $150 to $250 after debt service, per door if you're doing single family, which isn't awful, but you got to do quite a bit. That's a lot of flipping, to try to cash out, refinance, get your money back, and then make $250 a month. Yeah. So the next step is scaling that, probably launching a fund to do so. But what I'm doing now is really deciding, do I really want to launch a fund to do that? Or do I just want to jump into the multifamily syndication space and purchase, units of 10, I'll probably say 10 units or more, 25 units or more would probably be my wheelhouse to start. And in a market where it's much more affordable, a 10 unit in Jersey is going to literally be 10 times as much as a 10 unit in St. Louis or 10 unit in Ohio. So
Jersey's already bought out. It's not like it's a bad place to invest. It's just
it's great. We still make money in Jersey, but
rents are way more expensive in New Jersey. I mean, I've had tenants pay $2,000-$3,000 a month to live in New Jersey, where they could be living in North Carolina for $800 a month. The same size unit, same community, same everything, right? And that's okay, cool. So like big time scale, maybe multifamily, maybe a fund, and that. So cool stuff, man. What do you got for words of wisdom for somebody that's looking to get in? They maybe still got the little voice on their shoulder telling them they can't do this or whatever it is.
I mentor like hundreds of people a year, right? And it's the same thing every time. It's really hard to fail in real estate. And what I mean by that is, there's so many moving parts that it makes no sense for you to sit there with no deals on your belt and overanalyze how things are supposed to go, because there's so many people accountable to making a deal go well. We talked about attorneys, we talked about title, we talked about the lender, all of those things. Do not be afraid to do your first deal and learn as you go. There's no shame in that. Do your first deal and learn as you go. Yes, invest in mentorship. I could plug myself or you guys or anyone else and say get mentorship. Yes, watch YouTube videos, all of that. But ultimately, don't waste time overanalyzing what it means to be a real estate investor. You're always going to get better per every deal. So why not start and do your first deal? That's number one. And then number two, what I mean by you can't really fail is that even when you do fail or maybe lose money, if you buy property the right way, it's just a waiting game. The trajectory of the real estate industry is over the history of humanity is always just going up, 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 up. Even when it goes down, it goes up. So, you want to buy into deals that if you can't flip it for what you thought you could, or you're on the verge of maybe losing money, you want to buy properties where you can slap a tenant in it and at the very least break even and just wait until that property is worth the amount that you wanted to flip it for, or sell it for, whatever. But ultimately, you can't really lose in buying real estate. You want to buy real estate and wait. You don't want to wait to buy real estate. My words.
Yep. I agree. There's no one deal that's going to sink you. It is your actions that you take around that deal and the people that you put in place around the deal and the tweaks and adjustments that you make around it. And I mean, I find that deals that I had, and I was investing in 2008, 2009, when things were really, really bad, stuff that I had that was cash flowing, I was able to just sit on. Yeah, so what? I mean, the market says it's worth like 50K. I paid 150 for it. So I way overpaid on today's market. But guess what? It's cash flowing. So I'll just keep cash flowing it until the market comes back. And the market did. The market took a big dip, but within 3 to 4 years, it was back. And I was able to sell all those properties, for more than I paid for them. And that. So cash flow is king. It's good. Appreciation's been king the last 5 years. That's how people have made a lot of money. But I think cash flow is going to be the way that people get through whatever storm the world's got to deal us. Because rents have never gone down since I've ever been in business. Rents are what they are. And if one tenant moves out, somebody else is going to show up that's going to pay you what the prior tenant was paying. So keep if cash flow will get you through whatever market changes are there.
Absolutely.
So if people want to hear more about you, your coaching services, if they want to hear more of your backstory and then maybe grab a copy of your book, how do people do that? One more time, guys, the book is called Overcome: The Key to Unlocking Your Superhuman. Everybody go out and grab a copy of that on Amazon right now. In that, but if people want to hear more from you, what you're up to, invest with you or learn from you or whatever, how do they do that?
Yeah, great question again. Art Morrison III. Art Morrison III, as in the third, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever it's called. Everything you can imagine. That's my handle. That's the best way to stay in contact with me, see what I have going on, see what deals we're doing and all of that. My company website is UnitedHomeRelief.com, UnitedHomeRelief.com. I before E, except after C, for those of you who struggle spelling relief. But that's where you can see exactly what my company does. Everything's there, from coaching services to partnering with us and all of those type of things. But my book, Overcome, it's on Amazon. But if you go to any of my websites and put your information in to get whatever freebie I'm giving away, it might be a free webinar, it might be a free deal calculator that we use. Somewhere in that sequence, like if you guys are a little cheap, somewhere in that sequence, I give you my book for free too. So if you want to save $10, you're just cheap, you're like, this guy's a bozo, I ain't buying nothing from him. It's free, my book. I promise you'll like the book. It's one I'm so confident in that book. There's not, like, everyone loves it. It's just a great book. Go read.
Good stuff, guys. You follow Art on all of his channels here. Art, have a great day, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thank you guys a lot, and best of luck on everything.
Yeah, guys, what a phenomenal conversation. I hope you guys carried away some nuggets for yourself. If you are in the middle of Winston Churchill said, if you're going through hell, keep going. Okay, that's one way to say it. So if you're going through turmoil in life, you're going through turmoil in business, the only way you lose in those things is by quitting, right? By trying something different, by sending another letter to another agency that might hire you as a basketball player, or by sending another letter to someone that might sell you their property that you can wholesale, fix and flip, or buy as a rental. Getting back in the ring and doing it again is what's going to create success. That is, I attribute a lot of my success toward dusting myself off and trying again. I did not get lucky. I just kept going until it looked like I did. Okay. So that's a big lesson today from Art. Make sure you guys check out his book. I really enjoyed the conversation. Make sure you join us next week, every Friday at 9 noon Eastern here on this channel on Real Estate Insiders. Hope you guys can join us. Thank you guys for watching. I'm always grateful for you guys being a part of our communities, and I will see you guys next week.